At 25, they traded probably the best scorer in the NBA at 25.
The NBA has witnessed one of the most shocking trades in history in a stunning blockbuster deal. The Lakers landed Luka Dončić, Maxi Kleber, and Morris in exchange for Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and a 2029 first-round pick. The move sent shockwaves through the league, leaving fans, analysts, and even NBA players in disbelief. Now that the dust has settled, it's time to hear from some of the biggest superstars in the NBA who were just as stunned as the rest of us. Nikola Jokić is one of Luka Doncic's closest friends in the NBA, aside from his own teammates. Their bond has grown over the years, forged through shared experiences as European stars who rose to the top of the league. Both have had to navigate the challenges of adjusting to life in the U.S., likely sharing plenty of conversations about culture shock and the sudden shift to global superstardom. So when news of the trade broke, Jokić didn't hesitate to express concern for his friend, knowing just how big of a change this would be for him. I texted him. He felt it. I mean, of course, I think he didn't expect it. Of course, I think he just needs to be with family right now. It's a big move. It's a business. I don't know, I think nobody expected, especially not him. I think nobody's safe in the league, it seems like, but I think he's going to do a good job.
Excited to see the first time the Lakers play Dallas in Dallas. I'm super excited to see that. Oh, my God.
I think he's the player for the big scene. Nikola Jokic's reaction to the trade carried a sense of grief, reminder of how ruthless the NBA can be as a business. Trades can happen in an instant, uprooting players from teams and cities they've built deep connections with. Jokic's comments about the importance of family highlight just how difficult these sudden moves can be, even for superstars. But after the initial shock, his disappointment turned into optimism, acknowledging that Luka's greatness belongs on a stage as big as the Los Angeles Lakers. Meanwhile, Steph Curry knows what it means to be the face of a franchise. As the greatest player in Golden State Warriors history, his name has become synonymous with the organization. Early in his career, there were moments when the Warriors considered trading him. But once he established himself as a generational talent and leader, the front office had no hesitation in building around him. Now, it's almost impossible to imagine him in another jersey. Even as Curry ages and the Warriors struggle to stay competitive, the franchise hasn't entertained trading him. His value goes beyond basketball. He's beloved by the entire Bay Area. So when he reacted to the Luka Dončić trade, his shock and awe were undeniable.
Shocked, probably like the rest of the world. Just didn't hear it coming, didn't see it coming. Try not to put too much into it. Try to wrap my head around it. I'm glad my job is to put.
But despite his surprise, he spoke confidently about the rare tier of players who are simply untouchable in trade discussions. It's as if he knows he's one of them. Still, Curry ended his statement on a lighthearted note, acknowledging just how wild and unpredictable this trade and the NBA as a whole can be. Just a reminder, maybe only a few in this league that can go to sleep with, any type of confidence, but you still be there. It's kind of a very unique situation across the board. But I think just the idea that it happened in silence was pretty crazy. The fact that you hear a trade and everybody thinks somebody's been hacked is hilarious. The moment the news broke, everyone was baffled. It felt so unreal that many thought ESPN had been hacked rather than Luka Dončić actually being traded for Anthony Davis out of nowhere. The complete silence leading up to the deal is what shocked Steph Curry, NBA players, and fans alike. When it comes to blockbuster trades, Kevin Durant's name is always in the conversation. In the later years of his career, he's become somewhat of an NBA journeyman, bouncing between contenders. But his early career, that was a different story. He was untouchable during his time with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I wish Luka the best. I mean, it was a joy to play with him in those 22 games we were together. So we're going to obviously welcome AD with open arms.
Trading Durant was never an option. His potential was simply too great. By his early 20s, he was already breaking scoring records on a clear path to becoming an MVP and NBA champion. The same could be said for Luka Dončić, which is what makes this trade even more shocking. The age factor is one of the first things KD pointed out. A player in his early 20s is usually the most valuable asset a franchise can have. Luka was supposed to be that guy for Dallas. Instead, he's now in Los Angeles, and Durant can't help but marvel at the absurdity of it all. At this point, KD might be used to the chaos of trade season, but for Luka, this was likely a much bigger shock. Durant understands that, and despite his amusement, he extended his sympathies to those involved in the trade. Insane. It's crazy. Crazy. Never would have thought Luka Dončić would get traded. This is a mid-season NBA. It's a wild place, man. If he can get traded, then anybody's up for grabs, So yeah, for the fans, somebody spectating, it's pretty fun. I know it's kind of nerve-wracking for LA and everybody in Dallas. LA and AD. The last time an NBA trade deadline sent shockwaves through the league like this, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were at the center of it. Back then, Kyrie was traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Dallas Mavericks, largely due to concerns about his personality and how he fit into a franchise's long-term success. That move allowed Dallas to pair Kyrie with Luka Dončić without giving up too much talent, a gamble that paid off in a big way. The two quickly developed elite chemistry, silencing doubts about Kyrie and proving to be a perfect offensive duo. Together, they led Dallas on an incredible run to the NBA Finals, with some even calling them the most talented offensive backcourt in history. They had been through a lot in a short time, forming a strong friendship on and off the court. That's what makes this trade even tougher. After everything they built together, being separated so suddenly had to sting for both of them, was really shocked. And, just don't imagine that you're going to get ready to go to sleep and then you find out news like that, no? So, still a grieving process right now. Miss my hermano. We had a lot of time together. Kyrie Irving calling this period a grieving process says it all. It's clear that he saw Luka Dončić as more than just a backcourt teammate. There was a real bond there. Having been through multiple trades himself, Kyrie understands the emotional and logistical challenges that come with being uprooted, making his words hit even harder. Meanwhile, Anthony Edwards is one of the few young stars on Luka's level in terms of value. Even at a younger age, he has already led the Minnesota Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals, where he faced Luka and the Mavericks, only to come up short. Despite their competitive fire, there's no bad blood between them. After the trade, Edwards spoke about Luka with genuine sympathy, even calling him the best scorer in the NBA. But beyond just praise, he offered a rare perspective, one that only a fellow young franchise cornerstone could truly understand. They say that none of them knew about the trade. Yeah, so that's crazy. At 25, they traded probably the best scorer in the NBA at 25, and he didn't know about it. So, it's a lot more digging somebody got to do to find out why he got traded. 'Cause you don't just trade him at 25, he just went to the finals, you know what I'm saying? So, I feel bad for Luka, man, 'cause I saw some on YouTube that said he just bought a crib and everything in Dallas, so that sucks, man. That sucks. Anthony Edwards didn't hold back when discussing the absurdity of this trade. He suggested that there might be something bigger happening behind the scenes, and honestly, he could be right. This kind of trade just doesn't happen. Nothing like it ever has. Regardless of the reasoning, it's a heartbreaking situation for Luka Dončić and his family. Just recently, he purchased a $15 million home in Dallas, fully expecting to spend his entire career with the Mavericks. After everything he had given to the franchise, he had every reason to believe his future there was secure. On a lighter note, Josh Hart also chimed in, bringing his usual candid and humorous take. Hart is always a fun interview, and this time was no different. His first reaction: a shout-out to Lakers GM Rob Pelinka for pulling off such a major deal. But his next comment was even better, a hilarious throwback to Pelinka's first blockbuster trade years ago, which ironically involved Josh Hart himself. Got to give credit to Rob Pelinka, man. He highway robbery, good for them. It's always good, someone like me when I get traded for a superstar. So, kind of got traded, great six. Josh Hart was part of the original trade package that brought Anthony Davis to the Lakers from the Pelicans, so it's only fitting that he'd have a little fun with the situation. In classic Hart fashion, he jokingly claimed that by the transitive property he was technically traded for Luka Dončić. The locker room erupted in laughter, but at the core of the joke is a serious reality. Getting traded for Luka Dončić is an enormous compliment. That's what makes this trade such a big deal. Many believe Anthony Davis doesn't come close to Luka's value. Back in 2019, the Lakers traded Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and 3 first-round picks for AD, a move that ultimately led to a championship. Now, they've managed to flip Davis for a generational talent just entering his prime. Meanwhile, the Pelicans no longer have a single player left from that blockbuster deal. Antetokounmpo, another player known for his humor, also shared his thoughts in his usual witty style. He said that Europeans should officially take over as the face of the NBA. Antetokounmpo has always felt a strong kinship with fellow European stars, and he believes this move is perfect for Luka, saying he's made for the bright lights of a big market like Los Angeles. Now that a European will be, I believe, the face of the Lakers, this is something new for Europe. It never happened before. I just love it. You know what I want? I want Luka to the Lakers. I want Giannis to the Knicks. I want all the Europeans to go to all the big markets, to see something incredible. This is what I want. This is my dream. Could Giannis Antetokounmpo be hinting at something for himself? There's been ongoing speculation about him potentially joining a bigger market team, with the Golden State Warriors frequently mentioned as a possible destination. His comments might just be playful, but they could also be a subtle signal that he's considering a future outside of Milwaukee. Meanwhile, Klay Thompson was the biggest roster move the Mavericks made after falling short in the NBA Finals last season due to Luka Dončic's availability issues. The two didn't get to play together as much as expected, but when they did, it was clear why Dallas brought Klay in. His off-ball movement and elite spot-up shooting perfectly complemented Luka's playmaking. Now, with Luka gone, Klay's role is bound to change. Finding open looks might be tougher, but he doesn't seem too bothered. He knows firsthand how dominant Anthony Davis can be, and as a veteran, he understands the business side of the league. Having already experienced a tough contract situation that led to his departure from Golden State, Klay knows better than anyone how quickly things can change in the NBA. I wish Luka the best. It was a joy to play with him in those 22 games we were together, but we're going to obviously welcome AD with open arms. Obviously one of the best players ever, top 75, and this is the nature of the business. You have to be professional about all things in front of you, and I look forward to keeping the goal the same. If there's anyone in the NBA who could be considered Luka Dončic's true rival, it's Devin Booker. Yet, when news of the trade broke, Booker wasn't celebrating. He actually sounded sympathetic. He seemed to take a moment to reflect on the unstable nature of the NBA, acknowledging how quickly things can change for even the biggest stars. Still, there was a hint of smugness in his tone, almost as if he was subtly reminding fans that Luka wasn't as untouchable as many believed. Booker's confidence is understandable. The Phoenix Suns have remained loyal to him, cementing him as their franchise player. But the NBA is unpredictable, and with the Suns known for making questionable decisions, who's to say Booker won't find himself in Luka's position someday? It's crazy, man. I really don't know what to say about it. Luka being a guy that everybody's claimed as untouchable and untradeable, and the NBA shows you again, you can't predict it. It's a business. They're always having a conversation about you. So don't think you're safe at any point. Michael Porter Jr. is no stranger to controversial takes, and when it comes to this trade, he sounds completely baffled. His reaction isn't just shock. It's almost like he believes there's a deeper conspiracy at play, something that will only make sense once more details come to light. That's how unbelievable this trade was. Even in a league where blockbuster deals happen every year, this one feels different. Obviously, he's a once-in-a-generational player, and now I know it was just a weird thing overall. So, I still feel like there's some facts that are going to come out over time, because it just doesn't. I can't really comprehend how that really makes sense. To be honest, the player who wasn't part of the trade but will be talked about the most is still LeBron James. Known for influencing roster moves and pushing for blockbuster trades, many assume he's always involved in major decisions. But this time, reports suggest LeBron had no idea the trade was happening. Now he faces a huge adjustment because for the first time in his career, he's playing alongside someone who actually is better than him. We're getting a generational talent. We know that. Somebody who is proven to win can lead a franchise, and for me, I'm excited. I've always been a big fan of Luka, and I think he can take a little pressure off of me now. LeBron James' words might sound positive, but some fans believe they hint at a deeper reality. This trade marks a true shift in power. The Lakers are no longer LeBron's team. They belong to Luka Dončić now.